Hi folks, I hope you're well. So, today, dig out your flares, your best Huggy Bear outfit, because we're going back to the 70s. A lot of you have commented you like my vintage vibe video where I'm playing with the mini Moog. So today I thought I'd try to show you how to get those dreamy 70s vibes, you know, Lonnie Liston Smith, Roy Ayers, beautiful flowing Rhodes, and a really sweet ethereal mini Moog lead patch on top. I'm going to show you how to get the patch, and whatever I come up with, I'm going to sample note for note. So if you want that patch, you can head to my website. The link is below, and you can buy the patch. And I've also actually put the mini Moog bass patch from the last video I did, so you can buy that there as well. And I'm also going to show you how to get the sort of Fender Rhodes vibes. Now I know not all of you have got Fender Rhodes and a mini Moog, but it doesn't matter. Fear not. You can use your VST, you know, and just copy the patch onto your VST. Equally with the Rhodes, if you've got a workstation synth, you know, these days they have good Rhodes sounds on them, and I'm going to show you how to dress it up to give it the right vibe. And then we're going to look at how to play that vibe. As I always say, it's how you address each particular sound. You play them differently according to the sound and the vibe you're trying to get. All right, let's get cracking. Okay, so first up, let's get the patch going. I'm using oscillator 1 on this wave, oscillator 2 here on a triangle, and oscillator 3 I'm using as an LFO because oscillator 1 is working okay today, so I can do that. So if you copy those patches, oscillator 3 has to be down on low because it's a low frequency oscillator. I'm keeping oscillator 3 control on. That means that the vibrato will be slower when I play lower down the keyboard, and it will get faster as I go up. I quite like that effect, you know, but it's up to you. If you switch it off, then it'll just be a straight vibrato. It'll always be the same frequency, and that is dictated by this knob here. So if you turn that to the right, the vibrato will get faster. And you trigger the vibrato with the modulation wheel. I've got a little bit of glide on there, and I like to be quite interactive with it sometimes when I'm playing. You know, I might add glide or take glide away on different sections depending on what I'm doing. Okay, so that's those settings. Let's move over to the filter. So hopefully you can see those settings. My knobs are a bit antiquated, as they say. That's where the frequency cutoff is, -4 and -3. Emphasis is there just after 4, before 5, and same with contour. Decay is about halfway up. Attack time is about 250, 300. And here attack time is fastest and decay is at about 700 there. Over here I've got the decay switch switched on and the glide switched on. So I also got the Moog going into a Roland RE201 Space Echo, and from there it goes into a URI 1176 compressor, then into my GML preamp. I find it's an interesting effect to go first into a reverb and then into a compressor. Normally you do it the other way around, but I like the idea of the reverb being compressed, because what happens is if you've got something very reverby and then it's very compressed, it creates this magical sound when the compressor pumps in, then lets go, and the reverb sort of opens out. Try it. I mean, obviously I'm using hardware here, but you can do this as a plug-in. I'm sure most of you would. So just put a spring reverb or a plate reverb, whatever you fancy, then a compressor after the reverb. Compress it fairly heavily and then see what that does, and you'll find that's really quite a cool, interesting effect. I might go into creating effects for keys at some point in more detail in another video. Anyway, that's our basic sound. Let's get the Rhodes up. Okay, so the first thing to know about getting a Fender Rhodes sound is there's so many different types of Fender Rhodes sounds. There's so many different models of Fender Rhodes. They all sound a bit different. I had some guy come in the studio one time and he was like, I actually prefer the sound of a Nord Rhodes to a real one. It's like, well, that's because you probably were playing a Rhodes that wasn't the one that you imagined in your head. And if you have no experience, you don't know why. But if you played a stage Rhodes, for instance, it sounds quite dead and jazzy. It's very mellow. A suitcase Rhodes has an amp built in, so it's active, you know, that means it's got a lot more growl and bite to it. That's personally the sound that I love. This is an active model. If you haven't got a Fender Rhodes, obviously same applies for your workstation. You can just find a nice Rhodes sound with an auto pan, because for what we're going to do now, you want that dreamy panning stereo sound. And I'm going to do a couple of different versions here, but one would be just clean like that, with a sort of reverb, maybe about 4-second reverb. Not too much, but enough to make it really dreamy. If you can put a bit of modulation on the reverb, that's even better. I'm using Valhalla Shimmer, which I love that reverb. It's a very long, dreamy reverb. And I will also do it with and without a Sam's amp distortion plugin, just to accentuate, even though this has got an amp built in, just to accentuate that slight breakup of the sound. You don't want it really obviously distorting. It's too much if it's like that. But if you just put on a tiny bit, it really gives it a vibe. The other thing you can put on is a phaser. I've got an MXR 100 phaser here, which I absolutely love. Sounds fantastic on the Rhodes. Try those settings, they're really great. Obviously, again, if you're using a plugin or a workstation, just use a phaser plugin. And I would say if you're going to use the phaser and the amp simulation, first the phaser, then the amp, because that's how a Rhodes works. It has a insert, so that basically the phaser goes into the amp on the Rhodes and it's affected by the amp's crunch. So it sounds very different where you put the phaser in the chain. If you put it after the amp simulation, it's going to sound very different if you put it before. So put it before. You might even want to put the reverb before the amp as well if you really want to grunge it up. Up to you, you can play with it. So I've got a tiny bit of distortion on the Sans amp plugin. Without it, it sounds like this. Very nice. With it, it's like this. So you can see I've got it at quite a subtle setting there, but it just gives it a little bit of vintage vibe, really, if you excuse the pun. Okay, so now we've got our basic Rhodes sound. Let's address how to play it. Okay, so with this type of music, sustain is your friend, reverb is your friend, auto pan is your friend, all the things that make it sweet and dreamy. Yeah, so on the Fender Rhodes, keep your sustain pedal down. And let the sound do the work, you know? You want to hear, you want to listen to the sound of the reverb as you're hitting the notes, and you want to try to hit the notes in a way that you find their sweet spot. Every sample or every instrument has its sweet spot for particular things. So it's a matter of trying to feel where that sweet spot is in the sound. And that can evoke a feeling. You know, that's really how you put emotion, I think, into music, is you're expressing yourself in that way. You're finding the sweet spot that tugs your own feelings, and then it will translate to getting other people going as well. You know, if I played the same thing, like, it's not as vibey. So that's really one of the most important things. If you're playing this sort of music, you're playing a lot of clustery chords, you know, close harmonies, minor nines, minor 11s, you know. Sounds sweet. And I love to play arpeggios in these. It's literally, you can pick any note in the chord and just flow up and down with it. You know, so like this, we're in F minor at the moment. And you can be quite random with it, you know, and you'll find yourself as you're playing it, you know. anywhere. You can hit anywhere in that scale. That's the amazing thing about it. And with the sustain like that, it just sounds sweet. These kind of 11 chords are nice too. There I've got like a major B major 7 over a D flat bass. And again, you can just flow up and down with them. So if you're playing on one chord, you can go up to the 5th and back down. And I play the 5th with an 11th chord. So in this instance, I'm doing F minor 9, C11. It's just a lovely way to just keep it rolling round. So then I'm going to go to B flat minor 9 after this. But instead of going straight there, I'm going to go from the chord a semitone above. So exactly the same chord, just B minor 9 down into B flat minor 9. So let's incorporate all those things now. And then with your right hand, I've got this dreamy synth up here. If I'm going to play them both together, again, sustain is your friend because you can just get the sound going on this. I'm just flowing, that's all there is to it. Same if I'm in a major key, let's say I go to G major. Close clusters, you know, I'm playing a G major 7 here, but I'm also adding a 6. Makes it really sweet. Same on the C. So you're just filling out the sound, you know, however means you want to. So if you want to solo more on the Rhodes, just play a couple of notes on this Moog sound. It's going to fill out a lot of sound because it's sustained. And I find on the Moog sound, what sounds great is when you grace note in between sounds because it's monophonic. Going quickly from one to the other really works. And what's nice if you've got a real synth in front of you is where you can be interactive, you know, with the parameters of the sound. So for instance, if I adjust the attack time of the filter while I'm playing, I can really change the way it feels like this. So, be interactive with the sounds is cool. Let's kick in the phaser sound. Really gives you some dreamy vibes too. So there you have it. That's the vibe, really. Feel the sound that you're playing. Find the sweet spots. With this, play to the sound you've got. It's a mellow sound, so play mellow stuff. Have fun with that.